La noticia pronto se dio a conocer al mundo, así como los rumores de que su muerte no había sido accidental. ¿Acaso alguien lo había asesinado?, se preguntaban algunos. ¿Había sido objeto de la venganza de la mafia de Hong Kong? Algunos incluso especulaban que Lee había muerto presa de una maldición echada por maestros asiáticos de artes marciales, que estaban furiosos porque él había revelado sus secretos a los no asiáticos.
As far as rumors of a curse or rumors of this and that, there's just no bearing. I mean, I suppose when someone passes away, you can say whatever you want. You could say he was done in by gremlins, but there's equal evidence for gremlins as there is for a curse.
Una autopsia reveló que la muerte de Lee había sido causada por un edema cerebral o inflamación en el cerebro, una reacción alérgica a la píldora que había ingerido para aliviar su dolor de cabeza.
The scientific medical evidence was extremely clear, so you may call it a freak accident, but absolutely nothing else.
Al correr de los días, más de 20.000 dolientes llenaron las calles de Hong Kong para presentar sus respetos a la fallecida superestrella. Después del servicio funerario, el cuerpo fue trasladado a Seattle, donde Bruce y su esposa se habían conocido y enamorado. Entre los asistentes al funeral se encontraban sus buenos amigos James Coburn y Steve McQueen, quienes cargaron su ataúd. A la edad de solo 32 años, Bruce Lee se había ido dejando una esposa, 2 hijos y un legado sin paralelo en el mundo de las artes marciales. Pero irónicamente sería una película en la que él no apareció, la que daría vida a su leyenda.
Estás viendo Biografía. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee.
En un desesperado esfuerzo por salvar la última película de Bruce Lee, los productores buscaron a un actor con el mismo tipo físico y recurrieron a obvios y hasta risibles trucos de cámara.
Cut! Okay, that's a print. That was great, Billy. Okay, everybody, get
Pero la solución de último minuto no pudo evitar que el juego de la muerte se convirtiera en un gran éxito financiero. Con su aparición en 5 películas, Bruce Lee había redefinido para siempre el género de las películas de acción y abrió la puerta a otras estrellas de las artes marciales como Jackie Chan, Chuck Norris, Steven Seagal y Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Just about everybody now who does action resorts to some form of karate or kickboxing or something like that.
Pero de todos los actores que se atrevieron a seguir los pasos de la fallecida estrella, el que parecía tener la mayor oportunidad parecía ser el hijo de Bruce, Brandon.
A weird question to me when people ask me about, following in my father's footsteps. Because if by that you mean doing really excellent films and doing the kind of work that my father did, doing that quality of work, that level of work, absolutely, absolutely that's what I want to do. But if you mean trying to imitate him in some way, trying to be a poor man's Bruce Lee, not at all. I started learning martial arts with my dad right about the time I could walk. And we moved from Hong Kong to Los Angeles a lot when I was growing up as we were following my father's career around. And the thing is, I always think to myself, no matter what happens to me in my career, it's probably never going to get as weird as it already was.
Cuando ya se había hecho un nombre por sí mismo, gracias a un pequeño número de películas de éxito moderado, el joven actor pareció apuntar hacia el estrellato, cuando realizó el papel principal en la película de suspenso sobrenatural, El Cuervo. Pero el 31 de marzo de 1993, casi 20 años después de la prematura muerte de su padre, Brandon Lee falleció accidentalmente en el set de grabación al recibir una bala que supuestamente debía ser de salva. Y al igual que El Juego de la Muerte, El Cuervo fue completada con la ayuda de dobles y efectos especiales de cámara. Desafortunadamente, las extrañas circunstancias de la muerte de Brandon Lee hicieron poco para frenar el creciente rumor de una misteriosa maldición.
With Brandon's death, there was a resurgence of the rumors about Bruce's death. There was a rehashing of them in the public again. There was an attempt to connect the deaths of Bruce and Brandon, and really that's a great disservice and a great tragedy. Trying to connect it up with curses and falsehoods and rumors is not right. Brandon's death was the result of the most unfortunate and unlikely, freakish chain of events than that could ever be imagined. In a way, I'm glad that Bruce was not here to see this happen to Brandon, because it would have hurt him so badly, as it has all of us.
Para millones de personas en el mundo, el nombre de Bruce Lee brilla más fuerte que nunca. Las revistas continúan publicando artículos sobre él, y hay clubes de fanáticos dedicados a su legado, y su filosofía de las artes marciales continúa atrayendo un número cada vez mayor de devotos seguidores.
One of the most amazing things from my perspective on Bruce Lee was that a man of 32 years of age could be so prolific. He created a new film genre, he created a self-help philosophy, which is absolutely brilliant, and he created a new martial art, which people have been carrying on since his passing. So the important thing about Bruce Lee is not how he died or that he died, it's that he lived.
To me, he's still alive, his spirit's still there, and we still train in his art.
He's probably the best friend you can have. He's very loyal. He once told me that if somebody is trying to attack you, I'll take them on. That's a friend.
The integrity with which Bruce lived his life, what he believed to be right, that is a clear example of the way it should be done. I remember he said, all right, if I'm gone for any reason, don't get hooked up with all these people that they're going to be giving me parades. If they're giving me parades, something's wrong.
He was definitely somebody to look up to and something to aspire to. He had such a passion for life. I strive to have as much passion.
If I could, rewind time and do it all over again, I would have asked so many more questions and learned so much more.
He certainly left a gift for the rest of us, a path to follow, footsteps to follow, so that we can start in a direction and then find our own way, which was his lesson.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.
A total lifetime dedication to his art. He could take care of business, but he had a very active sense of humor.
He was a braggart in a way, but he never bragged about anything that he wasn't capable of.
Everybody just loved him around the set because of his enthusiasm. He kept it pretty interesting.
There's nobody I quite remember enjoying being a celebrity as he did.
He was the catalyst that set that whole martial arts all in motion. And it's a shame he didn't live to see the impact that he had.
He was not just a fighter. Bruce was a philosopher and a teacher.
all type of knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge. As an actor, as a martial artist, as a human being, all these I have learned from martial art.
Bruce Lee. Su pasión y su talento lo ayudaron a convertirse en una de las más grandes estrellas de películas de acción que el mundo ha conocido. También fue uno de los primeros actores en cubrir la brecha cultural entre el Oriente y el Occidente. Pero para Bruce Lee, su vida personal resultó ser más intensa y dramática que cualquier guión cinematográfico. Y pese a que su estilo ha sido muchas veces imitado, la marca indeleble que dejó hace casi 3 décadas nunca ha podido ser duplicada. El 27 de noviembre de 1940, a la hora y en el año del dragón, el niño que llegaría a ser conocido como Bruce Lee nació en San Francisco, California.
The dragon in the Chinese zodiac is a mythical creature. It has a fierce temper, it has tremendous power, it is quick, it is elusive, it is everything that is exotic, and that's fit Bruce Lee to a T.
Su padre, Li Hoi-chuan, era un reconocido actor de cine y teatro, que había hecho giras con la compañía de ópera cantonesa. Su madre, Grace, era una mujer china tradicional, cuya supersticiosa naturaleza la hizo temer por la seguridad de su pequeño hijo.
Because his mother had lost a male child previously, it was believed that that was an omen. For that reason, she called him Sai Fong, which is like Little Phoenix, which is a feminine name, in the hopes that the spirits would think it was a female child and therefore bypass him and let him live.
Pero el que permanecería sería el nombre que le dio una enfermera del hospital, Bruce. En 1941, mientras la guerra en Europa amenazaba con abarcar el sur del Pacífico, Lee trasladó a Bruce y al resto de la familia a su natal Hong Kong. Mientras Hong Kong sentía las penurias de la Segunda Guerra Mundial debido a la invasión japonesa, Lee se las arregló para conseguir trabajo como actor. Mientras disfrutaba de una próspera carrera en el cine, el padre de Bruce frecuentemente lo llevaba con él a las filmaciones, y a la edad de 6 años, el novel intérprete ya estaba haciendo una audición para su primer papel hablado, el que podemos ver aquí en este corto de Kid Chung.
Here you are, sir.
You like that, Shen, huh?
Uh-huh. I sure wish I could throw a knife like that.
I guess that's when it all started. The director, my father, even my father being an actor, I mean, they all said that he was a natural.
Wait, you can't go out now. There's police all around.
Incluso en estas primeras películas, el chico ya demostraba el encanto, carisma y expresividad corporal que marcarían sus posteriores apariciones en la pantalla.
If you look at some of his childhood roles, there's the thumbing of the nose, and there's that sort of grimace that he did when he got mad, and all of these carried over into adult roles. But that was really Bruce. I mean, later he would say that was honest self-expression.
A pesar de haber sido miope y de alguna manera frágil cuando niño, el joven actor llegaría a convertirse en un adolescente apuesto, seguro y hasta arrogante. Además de la actuación, Bruce también desarrolló una afición por el baile y ganó el primer lugar en distintos concursos de baile en Hong Kong. Pero para un apuesto actor y bailarín, Hong Kong era un lugar muy duro para crecer. Las pandillas gobernaban las calles de la ciudad y Lee se veía frecuentemente obligado a pelear contra ellas, pero le encantaban los retos y se enfrentaba frontalmente a sus adversarios.
I remember when Bruce was about 14 years old, he always did like to fight, so there was a group of students, classmates that didn't quite like him. So one day when he walked out of school, they just jumped him and beat the heck out of him, you know. I guess he felt that he had to defend himself.
En una de esas peleas, Bruce lastimó al hijo de un temido miembro de una de las pandillas. Temerosos de una represalia, los padres de Bruce inscribieron a su hijo en sus primeras clases de artes marciales. Entrenando bajo la tutoría de Yip Man, un conocido maestro de artes marciales y filósofo, Bruce fue instruido sobre una base de disciplina y autocontrol.
Beginning in his early teens, he became involved with Wing Chun Kung Fu, which was a form of martial arts. And this was a philosophy that was very much about finding your power and delivering it in a very efficient way.
Para consternación de sus padres, las peleas callejeras de Bruce continuaron y la violenta naturaleza de sus enfrentamientos fue ascendiendo.
In one of his last encounters, while he was removing his jacket, the fellow he was squaring off against sucker punched him and blackened his eye, and Bruce flew into a rage and went after him and knocked the fellow out, broke his tooth, broke his arm, and the police were involved.
Police detective came up and he said, "Excuse me, Mr. Lee," he said, "your son's been really fighting bad in school." And he said, "If he gets into one more fight, I'm going to have to put him in jail."
Para rescatar a su hijo de las violentas calles de Hong Kong, los padres de Lee tomaron la difícil decisión de enviar al chico de 18 años a vivir con unos amigos en Estados Unidos.
We saw him off, and my father was a very old-fashioned man, okay? He never hugs anybody, nobody, My father actually went over and hugged him, and that really took us all by surprise,
De regreso a su lugar de nacimiento, Bruce se asentó en Seattle y pronto consiguió trabajo en un restaurante propiedad de un amigo de la familia llamado Ruby Chow. Pero el joven y rebelde adolescente sabía que su destino distaba mucho de servir mesas en el barrio chino. Se inscribió en la Universidad de Washington y comenzó a estudiar filosofía. Combinando hábilmente sus estudios con las artes marciales, Bruce comenzó a ganarse la reputación en la escuela de ser una especie de maestro. Pronto sus amigos y compañeros de clase comenzaron a acudir a él para que los instruyera.
When we first started out, he didn't charge anybody, and he never probably would have, but Bruce used to get frustrated, and so we finally said, "Look, Bruce, why don't you start a school and charge us money, and then you can go out on your own."
En 1963, mientras aún se encontraba en la universidad, Bruce abrió el instituto Hun Fan Kung Fu. Pero en poco tiempo la atención del instructor se enfocó en un estudiante muy especial, una antigua porrista llamada Linda Emery.
One day we were on the campus of the University of Washington, and he said, "Okay, Linda, now I want you to throw me," and he showed me how to do it. So I threw him over on the grass, and he landed on the grass, and we were kind of laughing, and he said, "Let's go to the Space Needle for dinner." I said, "You mean all of us?" And he said, "No, just you." And I was like, That was our first date, October 25th, 1963.
La relación pronto se volvió seria, pero la madre de Linda no se sentía conforme con el novio que su hija había elegido. Los matrimonios interraciales no eran del todo aceptados en la década de los 60, y la señora Emery dudaba que el joven estudiante de filosofía pudiera proporcionarle una vida estable a su hija. Decidido a demostrarle que estaba equivocada, Bruce se dedicó a trabajar más duro que nunca para desarrollar su franquicia de escuelas de artes marciales. Y el 17 de agosto de 1964, Bruce se casó con su antigua estudiante, Linda.
That was one time in my life I knew that I was doing the absolutely right thing, that this man was a man of quality and integrity and great love and warmth, and that we were going to be okay.
La familia se mudó a Oakland, California, donde Bruce había abierto su segunda escuela de Kung Fu. Allí Bruce continuó con sus prácticas de enseñar a cualquiera que tuviera la suficiente voluntad de aprender.
He didn't have any barriers of color or anything like that. He said, "If your heart is right," he said, "I'm going to teach you."
He was one of the first to teach the true secrets of the martial arts to Americans and to non-Orientals. And there was a very strong feeling among many Asians that this was a corrupt practice. This was an improper thing to do.
A los pocos meses de abrir su escuela, Bruce fue confrontado por un grupo hostil de antiguos maestros de artes marciales.
And they issued an ultimatum to Bruce Lee saying, "Stop teaching Caucasians or you're going to have to fight our top man." That, of course, was the wrong thing to say to Bruce Lee because he loved a challenge and also wasn't going to be told what to do by anybody. So I think the fight lasted 3 minutes. Bruce had subdued him, put him to the floor, and made the man say in Chinese, "I give up, I give up."
Pero ganar la pelea no fue suficiente. Pensando que él podía haber ganado en segundos, no en minutos, Bruce Lee comenzó a desarrollar un estricto régimen que revolucionaría las artes marciales.
Bruce Lee took a hard and objective look at the art of combat, and he came away with it with some very profound truths, such as it is constantly changing. You cannot expect to fight in a one-dimensional aspect when fighting is multidimensional.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Lee también esperaba que las artes marciales pudieran combatir el racismo al cubrir la brecha cultural que existía entre el Oriente y el Occidente. Y cuando fue invitado a participar en el campeonato de karate de Ed Parker en Long Beach, California, impresionó al público con su famoso golpe de 1 pulgada.
He would tighten his fist and just deliver that 1-inch shot of impact. But during that short distance in time, he would generate all of his body weight into the point of impact.
And he said, let me show you something. And he turned to Tom, to my teacher, who was then one of Parker's black belts. And he gave him his little kicking bag. He kicked Tom the length of a swimming pool and into a flower bed. I was impressed, to say the least.
Pero a pesar de su creciente reputación en el campo de las artes marciales, Bruce Lee se sentía frustrado. Todavía luchando para poder vivir de sus ingresos, sus escuelas de artes marciales no le estaban generando suficiente dinero y el futuro parecía incierto. Lo que él no sabía es que la fama estaba a la vuelta de la esquina.
Está viendo Biografía. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee.
El 1 de febrero de 1965, Bruce y Linda celebraron el nacimiento de su primer hijo, Brandon Bruce Lee.
Bruce's greatest joy in his whole life was his children. He wanted to have a boy because it's a very Chinese thing to have a boy to carry on.
He had a very, very, keen sense of love for his son, and he used to always brag and say he's the only blonde-haired, blue-eyed Chinaman in the world.
Pero solo una semana después del nacimiento de Brandon, la tragedia golpeó a Bruce cuando recibió la noticia de que su padre, Li Hoi-chuan, había fallecido en Hong Kong. Después de viajar a Hong Kong para asistir al funeral, Lee regresó a Estados Unidos más decidido que nunca a hacer que su familia se sintiera orgullosa de él. Enfocó toda su atención en desarrollar un nuevo estilo de arte marcial conocido como Jeet Kune Do, o la manera de interceptar los puños.
He told us Jeet Kune Do was a bunch of concepts and philosophies and strategies, and you take out and make it fit into you. It's like a coat. Everyone cannot fit into a size 42 coat. It has to be tailor-made for you.
He believed that he could take the best of many different kinds of fighting, a piece here and a piece there, from boxing, wrestling, martial arts, all sorts of different physical activity, and incorporate it into a single philosophy.
Ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky, so I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, that, my friend, is very hard to do.
Mientras que Bruce estaba ocupado enfocando todas sus energías en las artes marciales, el veterano productor de televisión William Dosher estaba buscando un actor de acción que pudiera protagonizar una nueva serie que él estaba desarrollando acerca de los misterios clásicos de Charlie Chan. Un amigo de Dosher, el estilista de Hollywood J.C. Brink, había visto recientemente a Lee en acción en el torneo de Ed Parker y de manera entusiasta recomendó a Lee con el productor televisivo.
He said, well, listen, I've got the guy for you. It's a fellow by the name of Bruce Lee. He's a good-looking man. He's got tremendous charisma. I'll call and see if there's some footage to show you. So he did, and as soon as Dozier saw it, he knew he had his man.
Test X1. Take one.
Now, Bruce, just look right into the camera lens right here and tell us your name, your age, and where you were born.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940. I'm 24 right now.
And you worked in motion pictures in Hong Kong?
Yes, since I was around 6 years old.
And when did you leave Hong Kong?
1959, when I was 18.
I see. Now look over to me, Bruce, as we talk. I understand you just had a baby boy?
Yeah.
And you've lost a little sleep over it, have you?
3 nights.
En 1965, Dosher ordenó que se le hiciera a Bruce una prueba ante las cámaras en los estudios de la 20th Century Fox.
There is the finger jab, there is the punch, there is the back fist, and then low. Of course, then they use leg, straight at the groin, or come up. Or, if I can back up a little bit, they start back from here, and then come back.
All right.
It's kind of work.
Desafortunadamente para Bruce, en ese momento Dosher estaba ocupado preparando su serie de Batman próxima a salir. El proyecto de la serie Charlie Chan fue abandonado. Sin embargo, Dosher prometió a Bruce que lo tomaría en cuenta para su próximo proyecto, basado en un drama radial de la década de los 30 llamado El Avispón Verde.
They wanted to offer Bruce the part of Kato, but that wasn't going to happen until the following year because they wanted to make sure that Batman worked. So there we were, now having moved to Los Angeles, and Bruce didn't have a job.
Bruce Lee no tuvo que esperar mucho tiempo.
To the Batcave.
Batman se convirtió en un fenómeno nacional y pocas semanas después Dosher comenzó a preparar el avispón verde.
No need for panic, Mr. Smith. After all, we're both on the same side of the law.
Just cut us in on your racket. That's all we are after.
Racket?
It's getting late, boss.
If we're going to be partners, Mr. Smith, we mustn't keep secrets from one another.
Everything on a table where we can all see it.
Impresionados por la presencia escénica de Bruce más que por sus dotes actorales, los ejecutivos de la ABC aceptaron la decisión de Dosher de que Lee fuera Kato, el chofer que luchaba contra el crimen.
And now, to protect the rights and lives of decent citizens, rides the Green Hornet.
Cuando el programa se estrenó al aire el viernes 9 de septiembre de 1966, Bruce Lee saltó al estrellato.
He went from being a martial arts instructor to someone that everybody watched in prime time in North America. No one had ever seen anything like that. Soon the fan mail Bruce was receiving was outpulling that of the star.
El papel protagónico del millonario editor periodístico Brick Lee, alias el avispón verde, lo interpretaba un rompecorazones estadounidense llamado Van Williams.
No more tricks, Carly. I'm here to talk business.
The thing that impressed me about him then is, as always, was his intensity. You know, he was very, very intense.
You know, if we ever meet up with that masked Kung Fu man again, I want him.
But a very nice gentleman.
Take it easy, miss. We won't hurt you.
From that moment on, Bruce and I kind of started working on a friendship all through the series.
Luego de varios años de inseguridad financiera, Bruce Lee al fin era un trabajador regular en la serie de la cadena ABC. Y a pesar de que su papel era secundario respecto al de Van Williams, decidió que no interpretaría a Kato como un subordinado.
He didn't want any chopsocky or pigtail or bowing and scraping and that kind of thing, the way that Chinese had been portrayed. So that was his rule, that he would not do any roles demeaning to the Chinese culture.
Como hombre perfeccionista, se esforzó al máximo para que sus escenas de lucha salieran tan perfectas como fuera posible.
Kung Fu is Kung Fu. It's not child's play.
Pronto aprendió que se necesitan ciertas reglas cuando se está grabando para la televisión.
We had to slow up his action because we found in the test that he was moving too fast for the speed of the motion picture film. People may not realize he could have been faster than he was.
Al no ser tan carismáticos ni tan pintorescos como los héroes de la serie rival,
Holy uncanny photographic mental processes.
el avispón verde y Kato no lograron cautivar a la audiencia del horario estelar. Desesperados por salvar el programa, Dosher y la ABC tramaron un enfrentamiento entre Batman y Robin y el avispón verde y Kato.
No Batmobile. Good. We can get some work done first, and fast.
And the original script was that he gets into a fight with Robin and loses.
Holy split seconds, let's go.
Well, he just went right through the roof. And he said, there is no way I'm going to get into a fight with Robin and lose. Bert had told everybody, you know, he's a big black belt and big tough guy. And Bruce had heard all about this. So he was going to play his Chinese water torture game on him. He let out little words. He was going to get this guy. And Bruce comes in and he gives him the silent treatment, you know. And he's grumbling around and said, you know, Bert thought he was just going to lose his temper and just destroy him. Adam said that Burt Ward was just shaking in his shorts. He was so scared that Bruce was going to take after him.
Finalmente, los productores terminaron la pelea en un empate para evitar molestar a los fanáticos de cada serie.
None too smart for a smart crime fighter?
Are we just letting them go, Batman?
Pero eso no tuvo importancia. El avispón verde fue cancelado después de solo una temporada.
That was unquestionably a big blow to Bruce Lee. He had hoped that the show would be more successful. He had hoped to use that as a springboard, and it didn't work out.
Con la cancelación del avispón verde, el futuro una vez más parecía incierto. Y a pesar de una nueva legión de leales fanáticos y los buenos contactos que había establecido en la industria del espectáculo, Bruce Lee una vez más enfrentaría momentos difíciles.
Estás viendo Biografía. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee.
A sus 27 años, Bruce Lee esperaba que el avispón verde le abriera las puertas. En lugar de eso, ahora solo estaba trabajando temporalmente, haciendo apariciones como invitado en programas como Here Come the Brides.
I did not meet the ship because I refused to marry a woman I've never seen.
Lin Sun, decision not yours. The society arranges all marriages.
I am no longer a part of the society. I resigned.
Perhaps you wish to speak to Chi Pei. You could explain your reasonings to him.
I will explain nothing to Chi Pei. Now, I am no longer a member of the society. Is that understood?
Incapaz de conseguir empleo como actor, optó por trabajar como entrenador de lucha para películas como La Mansión de los Siete Placeres, protagonizada por Dean Martin.
Those years were very difficult to break into Hollywood. There became a racial barrier that prevented him from crossing over into the Hollywood establishment.
Frustrado y con una familia que mantener, Bruce acudió a su amigo, el productor de El Avispón Verde, Charles Fitzsimons, para pedirle consejo.
And I said, well, wait a minute, Bruce, I have an idea. I said, how about teaching people in their own homes where you don't have to have a studio? And I explained to him all of the middle-aged, would-be macho individuals in the motion picture industry and in business. These are your potential clients.
Al tener como alumnos a celebridades como James Coburn, Steve McQueen y a la leyenda del baloncesto Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bruce se convirtió en el entrenador de moda en Hollywood.
He was not like most of the other people in the martial arts who had a tendency to be very formal and stiff. He was very down to earth, very American when you were working out, and he always wanted to make the most use of your time together with him. You had to have done your homework and be ready to go.
Pero de todos los alumnos de Bruce, su favorito era su hijo Brandon.
Brandon was a mositón, couldn't sit still little kid. And as soon as he could walk, Bruce was having him learn kicks and punches and all that kind of thing. And Brandon had endless amounts of energy, just like his dad.
Bruce se sentía muy orgulloso de su hijo, pero también de su segunda hija, Shannon, nacida el 19 de abril de 1969.
She was as much a girl as Brandon was a boy. Shannon just had Bruce around her little finger. Daddy's little girl. It was like an angel had come to live at our house when Shannon was born.
It's funny, but I guess when Bruce Lee is your dad, he's your dad. We weren't the sort of kids that went around saying, well, my dad's Bruce Lee, and he could, you know, beat up your dad. Even though I'm sure that's true for the most part.
A pesar de lo que pensaran sus hijos, Bruce no era invencible. Una mañana en 1970, mientras entrenaba con pesas, se lesionó un nervio de la columna, lo que lo dejó incapacitado para entrenar por 6 meses. Frustrado, empleó su energía en refinar su filosofía del Jeet Kune Do, para luego dedicarse a escribir extensamente sobre ella en todos los aspectos de los combates de artes marciales. Los médicos le dieron un devastador diagnóstico. No sería capaz de volver a practicar artes marciales. Decidido a demostrarles que estaban equivocados, Bruce, que una vez había sido lo suficientemente saludable para entrenar, se impuso un estricto régimen de prácticas diarias.
What he did, again, turning a stumbling block into a stepping stone, he wanted to see just what the limitations and capabilities of the human body were. He would do 2,000 punches a day, 1,000 kicks a day. He would run 3 miles and get on a bike and bike 15 miles. All of it was pushing to see what the human body was truly capable of.
Ansioso de retomar su carrera como actor, Bruce se unió al guionista Sterling Siliphant y al actor James Coburn en una idea para una película llamada El Círculo de Hierro.
Bruce had originated the idea for a screenplay that he called The Silent Flute. Warner Brothers was interested in doing it. It was the picture that was going to break Bruce into Hollywood. And we lived on that hope for several years there in the difficult years. So that was a crushing disappointment to Bruce when that film was never made.
Todavía trabajando como entrenador de artes marciales, Bruce sentía que Hollywood le había dado la espalda, así que viajó hasta Hong Kong para promocionarse y reunirse con directores de películas de acción.
Run Run Shaw was the biggest Asian filmmaker. Unfortunately, the bid was a standard offer that he offered his contract players, which was like $200 a week for about 7 years. Well, that wasn't what Bruce was looking for, so he politely declined.
De regreso en Hollywood en 1971, Bruce colaboró con Sterling Silliphant en el guión para la popular serie de televisión Longstreet. Al aparecer como invitado interpretando a un maestro de artes marciales, Bruce fue también recibido por los productores del programa que le ofrecieron un papel fijo en la serie. Pero en ese momento el estatus de Bruce como actor había cambiado. En un viaje a Hong Kong, descubrió con sorpresa que el avispón verde era extremadamente popular allí. Los fanáticos de los programas de acción ahora lo llamaban el programa de Kato.
And when he arrived there, thousands of people would come to the airport. He couldn't walk down the street without being mobbed the way that Tom Cruise, I guess today, might be mobbed if he walked out on the street.
Como resultado de su recién adquirida fama, Bruce fue requerido para protagonizar una película del reconocido productor Raymond Shaw.
Bruce expressed that he would like very much to come back to Hong Kong to make pictures, and I called him on the phone, and we started a conversation. The whole thing clicks. Then we signed a 3-picture deal, and he came back, and the rest is history.
El primer trabajo de Bruce para Shaw fue como estrella en una película de artes marciales de modesto presupuesto, llamada El Gran Jefe.
Introducing Bruce Lee. Every limb of his body is a lethal weapon against men. We're savage beasts.
Hong Kong moviegoers are renowned for being very vocal. And they have even been known to, like, cut the seats with a knife or something if they didn't like the movie. So, we're sitting there. The crowd is hushed. And he thinks, for a second, he thinks, oh my God, they hate it.
The audience, I said, was sort of dumbfounded at the end of the thing, until everybody broke out into thunderous applause.
El Gran Jefe rompió todos los récords de taquilla previamente establecidos en Asia, y Bruce Lee inició su camino para convertirse en una estrella internacional. Pero en lugar de dar por sentado su recién adquirido estatus de celebridad, comenzó a exigirse mucho más. En su próxima película para Raymond Shaw, Puños de Furia, introdujo el nunchaku, un arma nunca antes vista en las películas de artes marciales. Una vez más, la película rompió todos los récords de taquilla. Pero el éxito tiene muchos rivales, y uno de ellos fue el productor Run Run Shaw. Decidido a arrebatarle a Raymond Shaw la presencia de Bruce, intentó tentar al actor con un cheque en blanco por sus servicios, pero en vez de aceptar, Bruce decidió permanecer leal a Raymond Shaw. Además, le propuso una sociedad a partes iguales para producir una serie de películas. Esta fue una oferta que Shaw no pudo rechazar, y de hecho no lo hizo. Profesionalmente afianzado y económicamente seguro, Bruce Lee había conquistado Asia, pero su verdadero objetivo lo había eludido. Bruce Lee quería conquistar el mundo.
Estás viendo Biografía. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee.
En Hollywood los viejos hábitos son difíciles de eliminar, y a pesar de su reconocimiento como estrella internacional de las artes marciales, parecía que Bruce Lee no encajaba con los prejuicios locales.
It was very difficult to convince people who could give a green light to a project that an Asian hero would work as a marquee draw.
They think that business-wise, it's a risk. And I don't blame them. In the same way, it's like in Hong Kong, if a foreigner come and became a star, if I were the man with the money, I probably would have my own worry of whether or not the acceptance would be there. But that's all right, because if you honestly express yourself, it doesn't matter.
Bruce Lee, before he left for Hong Kong, was working with Warner Brothers, with Fred Weintraub, in developing a concept for a television show set in the Old West. It was going to be called The Warrior at that point. It was later changed to Kung Fu. They never apparently considered him at all for the lead because, in their words, he was too Chinese looking. And what happened was they ended up giving the role to a Caucasian actor, David Carradine, who they tried to make up to look half Chinese.
Amargado por lo que él consideraba racismo en Hollywood, Bruce volcó toda su atención a su sociedad con Raymond Shaw. Al haber desarrollado un agudo interés en la dirección mientras estaba protagonizando El Avispón Verde, Lee estuvo en capacidad de supervisar todos los aspectos de su nueva película, El Furor del Dragón.
It's Lee, unleashed.
He wrote it, he choreographed it, he starred in it, he played percussion and the music for the film. He had about 8 hats on, you know, and it was his first ever directorial debut.
Lee, unmarshaled.
A Bruce le fue concedido el control creativo que deseaba y se encargó de que sus interpretaciones en pantalla pudieran llenar las crecientes expectativas de la audiencia. Una de las partes destacadas de la película fue la violenta lucha entre Bruce Lee y su antiguo alumno Chuck Norris.
At the beginning of that fight scene, Bruce Lee's character is losing because he's in a very rigid martial arts way. Chuck Norris's character is also rigid, and he's a more powerful, bigger individual. Bruce, at that point, changes tactics and starts bouncing around like Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Robinson and being non-telegraphic. And as a result, Bruce Lee emerges victorious. Bruce stressed the need to show the ability to adapt instantly to whatever the situation was in front of you.
El Furor del Dragón batió todos los récords de taquilla anteriores y en las próximas semanas ya Bruce estaba ocupado preparando las escenas de lucha para su próxima película, El Juego de la Muerte. Su coestrella sería su amigo y antiguo alumno Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I was flabbergasted, you know, this is something that we had dreamed about, but, you know, you'd never really gotten a green light from anybody. It was a great experience.
Pero antes de que El Juego de la Muerte fuera completada, Bruce recibió la llamada de Hollywood que había estado esperando toda su vida. Le fue ofrecido su primer papel protagónico en una película estadounidense, Operación Dragón. Esta sería una película de alto presupuesto y la validación de todos los años que Bruce le había dedicado a su arte. Ahora más que nunca, Bruce Lee era considerado como el mejor practicante de artes marciales en el mundo, dentro y fuera de la pantalla.
Some kid was sitting on a wall questioning whether he was just an actor, or could he really do any of the things that he had been doing. And Bruce walked close to him, and then it was just snap, and he hit him, and the kid had a bloody nose and raised his hands, and that was it.
To their eyes, he was like Billy the Kid. People would try and take pokes at him when he was walking down the street. But Bruce would just, you know, use all the savvy that he developed and just play with these guys, and in fact would make a move on them and then correct their forms.
Pese a que Bruce estaba físicamente en forma y al tope de sus capacidades, algo estaba terriblemente mal.
He was training for something that would never come, a fight that would never happen. Bruce seemed to be on a 7-day-a-week schedule.
He was just working hard, and he knew it. But with the success of Enter the Dragon, he would have achieved that place where he could pick and choose a little bit, take his time to find the right properties and develop them. So he was on the cusp of realizing his dreams.
El 10 de mayo de 1973, mientras editaba Operación Dragón en un estudio de Hong Kong, Bruce Lee se sintió aturdido y colapsó. Fue llevado rápidamente al hospital. El actor parecía estar al borde de la muerte, pero los médicos no podían determinar la causa. Luego de pasar por innumerables análisis, se recuperó lo suficiente para regresar a trabajar y al finalizar Operación Dragón retomó su trabajo con El Juego de la Muerte.
He was working with a Chinese actress who he thought might be involved in the film as well. So he was at her house and he complained that he had a headache. And she gave him a prescription tablet that she had called Equagesic. And he went into another room and lay down.
Pero al ver que no salía varias horas después, la actriz Betty Tim Pei llamó a Raymond Shaw.
The phone rang and they said, I don't know what happens, but I couldn't wake up Bruce. So why don't you come? So in a hurry, I went to Betty's place, and Bruce looked very pale.
Raymond Chow called me and told me I should go to the hospital. And so I took a taxi to the hospital, and I just remember that I couldn't ask if he had died. And I said, is he alive? And they said, no.
El 20 de julio de 1973, a la edad de 32 años, Bruce Lee, el maestro de las artes marciales, había muerto.
We were shocked. I definitely was shocked. My mom was, of course, you know, she was torn apart really bad. Because she was so proud of Bruce.
And here was a man in the peak of health, and one day he just expired. No car accident, no external source, no great illness. And so people needed to find a reason.